Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So, we've got the TRX back together. I've been working on this thing all morning, trying to get this thing set up. Come on, stop. There we go. Anyhow, I got LED microchip lights, I like to call them anyways. These things are like really super puny. They got approximately about a 5mm lens. The outside's around 8mm, and of course I have the right drill bits for all this stuff, so I got them drilled and they push right in, which is nice. And I used, of all things, to attach this and all the wiring Gorilla Tape, because when Gorilla Tape, once it sets contact onto something, it ain't letting go. Even if it gets wet, it is not letting go. So that's how I've snaked everything inside, which I will show you shortly. It's an electrician's nightmare, trust me. But I'm running a 2S LiPo to run my headlights, my roof rack, and my winch. Now my winch is getting the full power of the battery. There's no resistor on it because I'm running straight 2S. So the way I did the wiring for the lighting, each one has a corresponding resistor to take the power level down to where it's required. So I've basically got about 7.2 volts at a 7.4 running to the light, the roof rack. Now, a LiPo is 7.4 volts, fully charged is 8.4. So you kind of got to really watch it. At 8.4 volts direct on, or 2-cell LiPo direct onto this thing, it's really super bright and it gets really hot. Okay, not necessarily a cool thing, especially if you start burning out LEDs eventually, which eventually it does happen. I mean, they will handle the voltage. It's just that it does get really hot, and I didn't like that, so I wanted to cut the voltage back to 7.4. So I got 7.2 out of 7.4. And I got about 3.5 volts before the power load into the headlights. Now the headlights can run 3.3 volts each, is their main running. So by the time they suck the power down, and there's one resistor for both lights, it brings it down to where it should be. And if you go with a single cell LiPo direct on, it's way too bright and way too hot. You'll have a meltdown on your truck. So you need to use resistors. I actually have a video on how to actually wire these little light bulbs up and stuff, and tell you about how to test for voltages with resistors to find the right resistor with the right battery that you're going to use, etc. So anyways, the switch that was on the back ran the winch before. Now I have a two-way switch that is the main kill switch. So I can push this button all I want, I ain't gonna do nothing. And of course the lights aren't on, right? So I turn the switch on, voila, we've got lights. Okay, and we also have winch control. Now which one was it? There we go, B. So there's my winch. Now if I kill the power, no more winch. Okay. There we go. Alright, so the idea why I did it this way, one, it makes use of that hole I made in the back bumper for now, until I get my metal bumpers on. Then I have to mount kill switch somewhere else. But the reason why I did it this way is I don't want to run my lighting during the day all the time, and I'm not always going to be using my winch every time I go out and I shoot a video, right? Because not every video is going to have a winch involved, right? So this way I can save on my 2-cell LiPo. which makes a huge difference. So if I do get into a darker area out in the woods, you know, even though it's broad daylight, well then I could turn the lights on if I wanted to, and I'd still have the option whether or not I want to run the winch in the video for doing something, right? Makes total sense. Also, if I'm not really using the battery much, I don't have to even take it out of the truck, okay? Which is another bonus. Now I'm going to show you this wiring nightmare, and it is a nightmare. Oh, well, before we do that, I wanted to do this. Alright. Shift gears too, which is even cooler. Anyhow, so let's get the top off this thing. That's the tricky part. There we go. So there's my little bit of a nightmare. Let me just figure out where I'm going here. Okay, that unplugs. And GSTs are nice, but at the same time. Okay, now we can separate the body. Reposition this thing too. It's getting bunched at by the cords. Okay. So, ESC's here. I'm definitely going to invest in that ESC little rocker switch thing because that is a pain in the butt to lift this cover on and off with the S system in there. I had mentioned this in my review. This thing needs to be like a 1/4 of an inch narrower and it'd be absolutely perfect, you know? And then it wouldn't be such a hassle getting the body on and off. You know, I mean, I fight with my antenna a little bit as it is, but I don't mind that. But this thing with the S system, with the sound system, I can be a bit of a drag. So what I want to do right now I actually still got to go back and program this. So I'm going to actually leave the lid off this because I got to go program it for a longer idle time. So for now, we'll turn the power off. So my 3S battery sits in here. My 2S is tie strapped actually to the battery strap, so it can stay on there. I actually have a charge cable system that can plug right direct into this thing, so I don't even need to ever take the battery out if I don't want to. I just run that and keep the truck parked beside it, and I can charge this 2S. This will not be the 2S that stays in here though. This is just one for testing because it's a little bit puffed. It's out of a quadcopter that I had, and I'm still using it, but I ordered a brand spanking new 2S battery for this thing anyhow. But essentially what we have here is the wire coming from the switch, which is the black and white here, going into the positive line. So you have to cut the positive line. You could do it through the negative too. The idea is just to kill power. Okay, so either the positive wire or the negative, cut it, And then it doesn't matter about polarity for these two wires off the switch because it's just on and off. It's just making a bridge connection is all it does, right? And then that is your master kill. Then we've got plugged into this, everything else. My winch comes out of here. I took off that Molex Tamiya connector and put on a JST. So I can unplug this from here, and there's my main parallel harness. So that's all three connectors. That's the winch, roof racks, roof rack light, and headlights. And then of course battery power connection. So that actually works out quite nice, and nothing interferes with any of the servos or anything, which is good. I got to find a way to neaten up this wiring a little bit more though. I think I can probably get away with it. I probably should have made this wire a bit shorter, which I can easily do. It's not a big deal because I just do it from the back side, and you know, I can bunch up some of this and actually fold it over, kind of like this actually, and it'll stay nicely hidden. So I can do that right like that, and then I'll just run a tie strap back in here and keep this extra mess coiled up. Maybe we should do that while I'm on camera with you guys. Gives me something to do while I'm talking to you. But anyways, so yeah, the TRX is coming along really good. Last night I ordered in metal shock towers. I got them from Banggood, I think it was. Banggood or Wish, one of the two. We'll find out when it gets here. But it's a set of 4. Didn't cost me much. It was like under 40 bucks. And you can change the attack angle of your shock, right? But also your heights, because I got the new tires and they're just a little bit taller than these. So I still want room for flex here without running into the wheel wells. So I'm going to need to actually lift this up a little higher. But I am getting some good front weight going on up front to help with my center of gravity thing, because I've got the 2-cell here now. When I get the new 2-cell, it's actually going to go right up in to here, I think. And that'll give me a little bit more weight forward with more weight on the battery because of the extra battery weight, right? I do have, of course, my winch on here. I've got metal bumper mounts that are going to be in, I think, next week. Plus my cooler has extra weight up front as well. And, you know, so there's a certain amount of weight you want to have to keep the front end down, but there's a certain amount you don't want to have. But you got to watch it too when you're doing a whole height thing. I would probably suggest and recommend, because of my own experience with crawling, I'm not a professional crawler, but I do know about vehicles. We got a lot of back weight going on here now, especially with this kit here. So either way, I got to lift this thing up higher. But what I'm going to do is, let's just say, for example, I go 2 levels higher here. I'm going to go 1 level higher up in the front, which will give it just a slight angle, which helps keep that weight, any weight going forward. Okay, so that's the benefit of that. And then running the shocks just slightly, a little bit looser in the front, but a little tiny bit stiffer in the back. You know, because you got to keep the weight up. You don't want the ass end sagging and your front end coming up, because then you got too much, right? So you got to kind of change your angles. So it's not about removing weight. It's not always about adding a lot of extra weight. You can change geometries and weight just by changing your attack angle on your suspension. That makes a big difference. So that's, you know, I'm going to be doing a lot of metal upgrades on this. You know, like metal drive shafts, and eventually I'll probably do the portal axles. We'll see. Just things here and there. My wheels are I don't know if they're weighted wheels or not. I guess we're gonna find out when they get here. But anyway, so that's my video for you guys today. I did bunch up my wires here because this is actually a winch wire plug-in for like a Warn winch and a few other makes. It's a little different than the JST. I didn't want to remove anything. And that 3M stuff is the bomb, man. Like, that's hanging on like cement. That's good stuff. But yeah, we're doing little bits at a time as I can afford to do it. And we've got a long way to go yet for mods. But I'm really loving this truck, guys. I'm really loving the truck so far. And I haven't even had it to Descheny Falls yet. But if time permits tomorrow, and the weather is supposed to permit, so if we get both, then the wife and I are going to go out and shoot some videos at Descheny Falls in North Bay, and we're going to bring her Summit and my TRX4 for its maiden cruise to the trails and see how it does on the rocks and stuff there with stock tires. And then the next time I go out, I'll be taking the new tires and rims and trying them out. And of course, we'll continue on as we go. So anyways, thanks for watching and being patient for the video. Hope you got a lot out of it, and let me know what you guys think. I gotta clean up some more of this wire because it is a bit of a nightmare. And I think I'm gonna go online in a few minutes too and go order that switch for my ESC, because that would be so handy to have that thing. Because it's just, I mean, to get at the body, you gotta lift the body and you get your finger in there. It's a pain, you know, so there you go. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.